Alright, so I did talk about Superman 3 being really bad, but Superman 4 is really bad. If you guys want to know about the Cold War, yeah, everyone complains about politics in movies nowadays, which I kind of agree. I gotta make a video about that in the future. But Superman 4 likes to talk about the Cold War and I guess a little bit of climate change. It kind of gives me that vibe. Regardless though, let's get into this. So Superman 4 is really bad. I will have to say that. The best thing about Superman 4 is, hey, Lois Lane is back. But besides that, no. And hey, Lex Luthor is back too, which is also really cool. So my coworker told me Superman 4 is the worst one out of the 4. I didn't believe him because I was like, bro, Lois Lane is back and Lex Luthor. I was kind of hyped. I was like, there's no way. Yeah, this movie is really bad. This is probably the worst one because Superman lectures the world about nukes and he gets all the nukes from the whole world, puts them together, and then he yeets them into the sun. So the whole world has no more nukes anymore. And Lex Luthor tells these guys who created the nukes, who are like selling nukes, hey, I'm gonna kill Superman with nukes. And he creates this sun nuke guy that just wants to fight Superman, that uses Lex Luthor's voice. He fights Superman with weird Freddy Krueger claws. He kind of looks like one of those girls that gets those really long nails done, and it's just like, okay. And that's what he does. He's like, yeah, that's kind of how Superman 4 works. And then the Daily Planet gets bought out by this rich dude and his attractive daughter who has like the hots for Clark. And my thought is, I'm like, are we never gonna do Lois and Superman? I don't know what happened from Superman 2 to Superman 4 because I was really enjoying the relationship buildup of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, where I thought in Superman 4 those two were gonna end up being together at the end. No. And then what happens is Superman's like, I need some fresh air, and he like steps out the window with Lois and he picks her up because he turns us into Superman. He puts on his glasses to show that he was Clark Kent, and she was like, oh, I remember. And then she told him that she like loves him. But then as soon as they get back, they kiss and he like walks away and Lois just forgets everything. And I'm like, what? I'm just so confused with this whole movie. It's not very good, but like I said, it's like Cold War propaganda or something. That's kind of the vibe of it. Because I asked my coworker, I'm like, hey man, I was only like 15 minutes into this movie, and I was like, is this movie about the Cold War? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, ooh, yeah. It's just not a good movie. And like I said, Superman like gets clawed by these cat sun dude. That's what I'm gonna call him, cat sun dude. He loses his powers, but then he goes back home in Kansas to get like the stone, and then he like injects it in himself to get his powers back. It's just not a good movie. That's the best way to explain it. If I had to rate this movie out of 5, I gave it a 2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. At first, after I watched it, I was like, it's bad, but is it worse than Superman 3? And I almost rated it a 3, just like I did with Superman 3. But then I really sat there and thought about it. I really did. And then the more I kept thinking about how bad all these things were about this movie, I had to give it a 2. It's literally the worst one out of the Christopher Reeves Superman movies. And I can see why they never did Superman 5 with Christopher Reeves, because this one is bad. There's like so much potential in this one, but like I said, just a lot of things that led off of Superman 2, they kind of just fumbled with Superman 3 and Superman 4. I think a lot of things that they were doing in Superman 1 and 2 were peak. I think I can see why people love Superman and Superman 2. And I can see why people don't talk about Superman 3 and 4 because they're not very good. Superman 4, huge disappointment, 2 out of 5. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Out of the 4 Superman movies, of Christopher Reeves Superman movies, what would you rate them? Which one is your favorite out of the 4? I will not spoil which one is my favorite until I do a giant Superman movie ranking after the new James Gunn Superman. I cannot wait. It's gonna be fun. But regardless though, let me know down below what is your favorite out of the Christopher Reeve movies. And do you agree with what my rating is for Superman 4? And of course, make sure you guys stay safe, everyone.